Hello, everyone. Happy Spring Festival and welcome to today's Morning English. This is Colin.
This is Winter. 大家新年好，欢迎大家收听今天的早安英文。I'm so excited that Spring Festival is finally here. It's such a wonderful time for family and friends.
Meh.
You don't like Chinese New Year?
For the most part, I think it's wonderful. But there are some things, well, one thing that I'm not looking forward to.
What's that?
Questions.
Well, let's talk about that for today's podcast. 今天呢，我们就来讲讲一个很多同学都避免不了的问题，就是过年啊，总免不了就是被父母催婚、催谈恋爱，或者是呢七大姑八大姨的各种追问。那我们今天呢，就来说一说，遇到不想回答的问题，怎么样优雅的表达，关你屁事儿。So, what kinds of questions do you have a hard time dealing with?
Well, I think the biggest ones are money questions. You know, in the West, we don't talk about our salary or how much money we have commonly.
But I see foreigners on the internet talking about their money all the time.
Yeah. But that's people trying to get famous. You know, they like to brag about money because then they'll get noticed more. But regular people don't usually talk much about money. For example, none of my friends and even my family know how much my salary is.
I see. So when you get a question like, how much money do you get each month? What would you say? 那如果真的有人直接问你，哎，你每个月挣多少钱啊？你怎么办呢？
Well, it completely depends on who's asking the question. When I can, I will try to deflect the question.
Deflect. D-E-F-L-E-C-T. Deflect, right?
Yeah.
Deflect something 就是说转移、移开。Deflect the question 就是转移话题。
Yeah. I might say, well, my salary changes every month depending how much I work. Or, it's not a lot, but I do okay. I try to say anything that will let me not answer the question directly.
You said it depends who asks. How is that different?
Well, if a native English speaker asks me, I will say, that's none of your business.
Isn't that rude?
Well, you can say it in a friendly way, like, hey, that's none of your business, you know? But usually the way I say it is rude. But if they're from a similar culture as I am, they know they shouldn't ask.
I see. That makes sense. 就是如果大家都是同一种文化，其实就了解外国人啊，对这些个人信息呢是比较注意的。像我和 Colin 啊，我们就不会互相问你挣多少钱，对吧？
Yeah. Now, another way to say this is, that's not your concern, or it really doesn't concern you.Which I suppose isn't as rude, but it's, much more formal.
That's not your concern. 这不是你该关心的事儿。或者是 It really doesn't concern you. 这不需要你担心，这不需要你关心，对吗？
Right.
Okay, so what about Chinese people?
Well, if they're asking in English, and especially if they're younger, I will deflect or explain to them that most foreigners don't tell people that information as we consider it personal.
What if they're older and ask in Chinese?Well,
if they're older than me, I just answer them.
Really?
Yeah. You know, I think I should follow their cultural ways. After all, I'm in China. I often base this on the language. If you're speaking English, I answer in an English way. If you're speaking Chinese, I try to answer in a Chinese way.
Great. When in Rome, do what Romans do.
Right.
So, what are some other questions that can make you feel a little uncomfortable?
Well, the other personal ones.
Like, are you married?
Well, for me, that's okay. But I'm older than most people here that are not married. And so when I answer, I will get the question...
When will you get married? 你啥时候结婚呢?
Right. Or worse, why aren't you married yet?
Yeah. 为什么不结婚呢? So you deflect the questions?
Yeah, I might say, well, maybe next year. Or, I haven't met the right girl yet. And sometimes it's not the questions that really bother me. It's the criticism that people give after I answer.
What do you mean?
Well, in the West, we are more used to people doing things in many different ways. And so we often don't criticize people we don't know well. But here, well, it's different. Everybody has advice for you.
That's true. Everybody knows what you should be doing.
Yeah, it's like everybody is my mother and father.
So you're not looking forward to visiting people's homes this Spring Festival?
Oh, no, I am. I'm especially looking forward to all the food. The food at Spring Festival is wonderful.
Agreed.
And the parties, and just generally everybody being happy and in a good mood.
And the drinking, right? You like 白酒.
Yes, and the drinking.
Well, okay, that's it for today. 是的，今天我们就跟大家聊了一下，就是遇到不想回答的问题 Colin 啊，通常都是怎么样来处理的呢？我们可以 deflect the question, right?
Yeah.
逃避这个问题，或者是 it's none of your business, or
it's none of your concern,
or
it really doesn't concern you.
Right. Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us today for Morning English. This is Colin.
This is Winter. See you next episode.
Happy Spring Festival. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This podcast is from Morning English.
学口语就来早安英文。